by
Hold on a
saying
second. Hold on a
that
second.
no,
Pancake
No,
lizard.
I could not interrupt
Pancake
you.
lizard.
You will
Let
not
her
interrupt
finish.
me.
Let her finish.
Ask
Now
you one
you're-
more time.
Define
Don't give me an answer, and you're going to be server muted.
server.
Okay? Now, do you need me to repeat the question?
Oh god, yeah. No. I
Okay,
just need you to define
listen,
what you mean
you're
by
beating your chest. Shut the f*** up. And you're giggling, too. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. Because if you did, you would have asked. Oh, you're done. Okay. You're going to be like a little scumbag, keep on over-talking me, little girly man? I can't stand these people. They're piles of trash.
Oh no.
The argument.
He's a completely do not overtalk me when I'm speaking. He's a completely disingenuous, deceitful person.
Wait, who is this?
Clerical error. Get the earwax out. Listen.
I just showed up. Listen.
Like, what happened?
He's not somebody who you can have an honest, grown-up conversation with.
Are you somebody I can have an honest, grown-up conversation with?
Yes, I am.
Cool. Let's talk.
Good. What would you like to talk about, sweetheart?
What are your religious beliefs?
I'm a fundamentalist Christian.
Ah, so we're on the opposite side of the spectrum.
Good. What is your belief?
I am a Satanist.
A what?
I'm a Satanist.
Satanist.
A Satanist. Are you an Anton LaVey Satanist?
I am not an Anton LaVey Satanist, no.
Theistic Satanist.
So you literally believe in a persona named Satan.
I would venture to say, on a broad range, I am a pagan Satanist.
Okay. Do you believe that there is a persona and a disembodied mind and being that we call Satan?
That I label Satan, yes.
Okay. Is he the angel that the God of the Bible created?
No. I mean,
Okay.
like, yes and no. I guess not. You could say no, but I find the Bible interesting when they talk about Satan.
There is no two ways about it. There is no two ways
Yeah,
about it.
it's a little, yeah, it's a simple question. Is this persona that you believe in, named Satan, the angel that God created who instituted a rebellion?
Yes.
Okay, so then you do believe in the God of the Bible.
Yes, I do believe in the God of the Bible. I believe he's evil.
Okay. Well, unfortunately,
you're a missile theist.
Yeah. So unfortunately, that's incoherent.
How
Are
so?
you aware of that?
How is that incoherent?
Why? Because the ground of all being, by definition, cannot be evil.
How can he not be evil?
Evil is the deviation of what is the ultimate good. So if the God of the Bible is ultimate, absolute, and eternal,
I believe that Satan is as well.
May I finish? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Now, the God of the Bible is defined by being eternal, absolute, and ultimate, who institutes and secures all possibility and impossibility. Okay? Now, under that scenario, the God of the Bible cannot be evil, because an evil is the deviation of what is the ultimate good. So
Isn't
how can there be?
like
Please
evil
do
and good
not
subjective?
overtalk me. Overtalk me again, and you'll be server muted.
Okay.
Now, okay,
What a temper.
bye, you're done. Okay. Now, when we're talking about the God of the Bible, his nature and eternal character is the ultimate standard. Okay. So there could not be anything that is an objective standard by which the God of the Bible would have to conform and cohere to. So you're going to have to change your model of reality. Do you know why? Because
Why?
you told me you believe in the God of the Bible, but then the God of the Bible is evil. The God of the Bible cannot be evil. Okay, now your server muted, okay? We don't allow trolling going on in here.
How is that trolling?
Dude, you are
Okay,
an
he's over
authoritarian
talking me. Okay, now your server
Over-talking
muted.
is trolling? Hang on.
That's right. I don't tolerate it.
That's
okay?
not... I think you need to change your perception of reality.
Okay. Well, the point is we can get to that momentarily. But the point I'm trying to make to you is you told me you believe in the God of the Bible. By definition, then, it necessarily follows that the God of the Bible cannot be evil.
Just because I believe in the God of the Bible doesn't mean I believe the Bible is correct.
Well,
I think
then you wouldn't be believing in the God of the Bible then.
Well, when I tried to explain myself, you told me that I had to make a yes or no answer and that it wasn't right. So
Okay.
I'm trying to explain myself now. Is
Tell
that okay with
me,
you? Are you over talking me? Hang on. Are you over
we're
talking me now? Are you a troll?
Listen, we're having a back and forth here. Those
Well,
people
I'm trying
got
to finish
muted.
what I have to say.
Okay, go ahead and finish.
Okay, thank you. I believe that the Bible was created as a deception to show that this God, quote unquote, this all-powerful being is the only thing and is, the ultimate good, but that's not true.
Okay, now, let's assume for the sake of argument that what you say is true. Now, in order for you to make intelligible statements about facts and particulars, you're going to have to presuppose a metaphysical framework for those facts to reside in. Okay? So what is it that is ultimate and absolute within that metaphysical framework that institutes and secures all possibility?
I believe that there's a lot of deities.
That's not an answer to my question.
Then I'm sorry, I don't really understand your question.
In the Christian worldview, which you reject, the God of the Bible is that which is eternal, ultimate, and absolute, and he himself institutes and secures all possibility and impossibility. But since you reject that metaphysical framework, when you talk about good and evil, up and down, whatever facts you're going to invoke, in order for them to be actual and intelligible, they're going to have to derive from within a metaphysical framework or worldview or system. Any such system is going to have something that is ultimate in it that provides for all temporal states. So what is that singular ultimate absolute that institutes all possibilities so that you can then start talking about facts? What would that be?
I don't believe that there's a singular ultimate truth.
Okay. Now, do you know what the problem with that is?
Please enlighten me.
If you do not accept that there is something that is singularly ultimate and absolute that institutes all possibility and impossibility, then you're going to be in a completely chance system where anything goes and anything can happen. And if anything goes or happens, then you have no intelligibility for facts, because if anybody asserts a fact, such as yourself, I could come along and utter a contradiction and you wouldn't have grounds to object.
So I could say the same for you, because you can't tell whether or not your God is lying or deceiving.
How do you know that?
How would you explain to me how your God is not lying or deceiving?
Well, that's a question which I'll be more than happy to answer. But you told me that I could not have the capacity. So what you're saying is that an omnipotent, omniscient, always truth-revealing God, which is the God of the Bible, does not have the ability to make me and other people know that he is always truth revealing. So an omnipotent God could not do that?
I think an omnipotent God and an always truth-telling God are two very different things. I can know everything in the entire world. However, I don't have to tell you the truth.
You didn't address my question.
How did I not address your question?
You said that I cannot know whether or not the God of the Bible is lying to me. So what you're telling me is that, remember, we're talking about the God of the Bible. The God of the Bible is defined as possessing certain attributes. Now, if you reject any of those attributes within the definition, then we will no longer be talking about the Christian God. I understand.
Then I guess we're not talking about the Christian God.
Okay, well, but you see, you just told me that my God cannot make me know whether he's lying or not. So we were talking about the Christian God. Now, so you made an assertion that I cannot know whether or not my God, the Christian God, is lying to me or not. But you're talking about the Christian God. Now, I perfectly understand that you do not accept that the Christian God is veridical or actual. That's another issue that we can discuss, right? But what you're saying is that in the case that the Christian God were to exist, in my scenario, he wouldn't have the capacity or the ability to make me or anyone else know that he is always truth revealing. So what you're saying is an omnipotent God cannot make me know some things.
Yes,
How do you defend that?
I believe the God referred to in the Bible is the demiurge. However, the Bible is
Then
not
you're not
a
okay.
full
You're
truth.
you're changing the subject. You're moving the goalposts. Okay.
I don't understand what you're trying to get out of me.
What you're doing is you're now talking about another God. You're not talking about the God of the Bible. You were saying that my God could not make me know that he's always truth revealing.
No.
That's what you said.
I think you misunderstand. No, I think you misunderstand.
I understood you clearly.
I don't think that you did. Could I explain a little bit better, please?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so what I'm trying to clarify to you is that I believe that the Christian God, the God that is referred to in the Bible, is not what the Bible states that God is.
Okay.
Even though the Bible states that God has created that literature in order to deceive. And that's why our views do not match up.
Do you have
another here's reference? The problem. Here's the problem with your view. Okay. Right. When you, according to the Christian worldview, when you reject the self-disclosure of the Christian God in both natural and special revelation, the non-acceptance of it, the denial, the rejection, will result that your worldview will collapse into absurdity. Right?
So you think
now,
the Christian worldview is the only view?
No, I'm not done yet. I'm not going to give you sound bites. I'm trying to explain something to you. Okay? The Christian worldview is defined in such a way that if you deny the Christian worldview wholesale and the Christian God, then consequently your model of reality out of which you speak will collapse into absurdity. In other words, you will not have a metaphysical framework out of which to assert facts. So since you reject the Christian worldview, all I need to do to show you that you're wrong is just simply have you identify what your metaphysical framework out of which grants you the ability to assert and present intelligible facts. So since you don't view the God of the Bible as the creator and being ultimate and absolute, having instituted and sustained all facts, I would like to know from you, what is it that is ultimate, that institutes all possibility? Or, in your view, is there nothing that institutes and secures what's possible and impossible?
I don't think that anything is impossible or possible. However, I would argue that the Christian, the Christian worldview is not the objective worldview. My worldview is very distinct, and I would also be able to argue by saying that nope, I could not interrupt you. You will not interrupt me.
Let her finish.
Okay, now that's the last time you trolled, Pancake Lizard. I told you before to stop your trolling. Now you're going to be banned from the server. Okay. You are going to be banned from the server. I told you before to stop your trolling. Okay. Now go ahead, Arena.
He wasn't trolling. He was trying to defend me. And also, I would like to ask you,
Arena,
how can you
I want you to stop for a second. Calm down. Now, I have a prior history with him. He has chronically trolled. You do not know what you're talking about, okay? Now go ahead. Now, what I want to know is,
how many times are you going to server mute me?
I asked you a question. Do you need me to repeat the question?
I have a question for you. I was trying to answer your question, but if you hadn't server muted me, you would have been able to hear it. So
I will be glad to answer. I'm a moderator on this server.
I don't give a flying fuck.
Okay,
you're treating me wrong.
Then leave. Then if you don't care, then please leave. Now, if you want to continue the conversation, okay, you're going to respect the fact that I'm a moderator. Now, I asked you a question. I'm not intending to scare you. Now,
yeah, I'm not actually scared. Do you understand sarcasm?
I asked you. I'm delighted that you're not scared. Now, I asked you a question before we were rudely interrupted by that scumbag troll. Now, do you need me to repeat the question?
Go ahead and repeat the question. I'm sure I answered it, but I was server muted, so I'm sure you'd never know.
Yeah. Now, what I'd like to know from you is, since you reject the God of the Bible as the ground of all being, that which is ultimate, absolute, where God institutes and secures all possibility and impossibility, what is it that institutes and secures what's possible and impossible?
I think that anything is possible or impossible. However, I would like to ask you why you believe the Christian worldview is objective and how you can prove it.
Well, I'll be glad to answer that, but I first have to respond to your assertion. If anything is possible, philosophically, that will destroy your ability to make meaningful statements or to invoke intelligible facts, because any such proposition or fact could potentially coexist with its denial or negation.
100%.
So let me finish. I don't think you're understanding what landmine you just walked into. Once you accept and assert that anything is possible, right? That nothing is impossible, then you no longer have, for example, the guardrails of the laws of logic, such as the law of non-contradiction or the law of excluded middle. Therefore, anything you say, all I would have to do is simply contradict you, and you wouldn't have any metaphysical grounds to object, because you just stated nothing is impossible. So I can just contradict anything you say, and you don't have grounds to object. Do you understand the problem with your view?
I can believe that that's what you believe, and that's totally fine. However, I'd still like to know. You still haven't answered my question about the Christian worldview. You didn't
address my question.
And you skipped right over my question, so I can skip right the fuckers.
Listen, if you want to act like a little child, then I will server mute you and I'll move on to talking with somebody else. I would rather not do that. Now, I just explained to you that when you conceded that anything is possible, that invocation is catastrophic for your ability to make intelligible statements. Did you understand what I said to you?
Yes, I understand it. I don't believe that you're just going to suddenly understand my belief.
Do you understand?
Can I finish my sentence,
do you understand?
please? Jesus Christ.
No, you're not understanding, okay? Now, in a
Why
world,
won't you answer my
okay,
question?
I'm trying to get to your question, but you first need to understand how what you asserted wipes out everything you say. You stated that anything is possible. That means nothing is impossible. You understand that's your position?
Yes, anything is possible objectively.
Now listen to me. Now, if anything is possible, then I can just simply say to you, nothing is impossible.
Mm-hmm.
I can say to you, everything is impossible. I can contradict myself, and you cannot disagree because there are no impossibilities. Do you understand the dilemma that you're in?
I'm just trying to have a conversation with you about
I asked you
our
a
beliefs.
question. You are dodging my question.
Please don't yell at me.
Do you understand the moment you assert that everything is possible and nothing is impossible, you then destroy your ability to make meaningful statements. For example, if you say the dog is running in the backyard, the only reason why that statement can be intelligible is if it cannot coexist or equal its denial. Now, did you understand what I just said to you?
Yes, I understand what you said to me. Is it my turn to talk yet?
If a proposition, well, you see, you just want to overlook the colossal error that you just made. Now,
I'm not making errors.
Listen to me.
You're just not listening to me is the issue.
Listen,
I'm listening.
I'm really being very patient with you. You can ask the regulars in here. Now,
wow, what a fucking darling.
Do you understand? Listen carefully. If nothing is impossible, then any statement of fact that you invoke can potentially coexist with its denial. Do you understand that last statement?
Yes, I believe that every person's beliefs are in the realm of possibility. I don't discredit them.
You didn't understand what I just said.
Oh my God, then maybe you should dumb it down for me, because apparently I don't understand anything.
What is the problem? What is the problem if for any positive assertion that is made by anyone, if it can coexist with its denial or negation, then the positive assertion doesn't mean anything. If I were to say to you, the dog is running in the backyard, and at the same time and in the same sense, the dog is not running in the backyard, what would that statement mean?
I don't think that that's a correct statement for that. I could say, I believe the dog is running in the backyard. I think the dog is running in the backyard. And someone could say, I think it's not.
You are not, listen to me. I don't know whether it's because you're agitated or
I'm not
because
agitated.
of your,
Trust me, honey.
Then the problem's worse then. Because then you've demonstrated so far that right now, maybe in the future, but right now you don't have the capacity to understand what I just said.
I just think that you don't have the capacity to listen to what I have to say.
I am listening to you, but the point is, once you admit that anything is possible and nothing is impossible, you throw away your ability to make intelligible statements.
Okay, cool. So can you make an intelligible statement about... Do you
understand that?
Can you answer the question that I asked you 10 minutes ago? Please, for the love of God.
I'm not going... Well, you don't believe in God.
You get to freaking question me. Why can't you tell me?
Do you believe in God?
How?
I'll be glad. I will be more than happy to have you question me momentarily. But
momentarily, you've been saying that for 10 minutes.
Do you understand? Do you understand that once you concede that nothing is impossible, then you destroy your ability to make intelligible statements?
I am operating on intuition, as I believe everyone does. Therefore, I think that nobody can make
Then if you're operating under intuition...
thank you for interrupting me again. I'm pretty sure that you've yelled at a lot of people for doing that.
Listen,
so...
We'll see you later,
are you
honey.
Scared?
She doesn't have any idea what she's talking about philosophically, theologically, or metaphysically. She's very passionate and emotional, but she does not even understand some of the basics. She doesn't understand how catastrophic it is to say that anything is possible and nothing is impossible. Once you say that, you destroy your ability. Overtalk me again, see what happens. Okay?
I think she was agreeing with you, Darth. She wasn't overtalking.
I don't think so. Now,
say something.
once she concedes to this,
20 minutes later.
Brutal.
No, what these people like to do, which they always do, is in their little bag of tricks, is to be argumentative. They don't debate. Okay, now Raven, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, you know, you talk a lot of about people over talking you. You weren't shy to over talk her, mate. Anyone?
Yeah, if you listen to me, listen.
Come on, listen.
If you want to complain and whine about my moderation, go to the local supermarket and get some. Go to your local supermarket and get some cheese for that wine. When you're dealing with one of these young skeptics who are filled with emotion and venom, and they don't have the intellectual capacity, then they're not even listening to what I'm saying. Okay, watch. I'll prove it to you right now. She doesn't have the ability to explain what I said. Why, Arena? Why does saying nothing is impossible destroy the intelligibility of any statement of fact? Can you explain that?
Because anything could be possible. Therefore, you could be right. And also, I could be right. However, I'd still like you to answer my question.
Stop.
Can you please answer my question?
That's incorrect. No, that's incorrect. You're not understanding.
Oh my God.
If nothing is impossible, then we cannot have either explicitly or implicitly the law of non-contradiction. Do you know what the law of non-contradiction is?
I don't know the exact wording off the top of my head, no.
Okay, the law of non-contradiction says that for any entity or state of affairs represented by the letter A cannot equal its negation. It cannot coexist with its negation. In other words, there cannot be true, listen carefully. The law of non-contradiction states what is impossible. So the only reason why the statement "the dog is running in the backyard" is intelligible is because it cannot equal or coexist with its negation. But you stated nothing is impossible. So if nothing is impossible, then we do not have a law of non-contradiction. If there's no law of non-contradiction, we can have no intelligibility for propositions and facts. Do you understand now?
I understand. However, I can prove whether or not the dog is running in the backyard.
No, you don't understand.
Can I please
No,
talk?
You're going to stop.
Oh my fucking God! Why are you so annoying?
You don't believe in God.
Not that serious.
Listen
no, I
to
believe
me.
in a God. I am a theist.
Okay.
Can you stop calling me an atheist for the love of God?
Okay. Well, actually, you are an atheist because you have no identifiable God to appeal to.
I am an atheist. What are you talking about? I am a theist.
Okay. Can I ask you a personal question?
Oh, can I ask you a question first, considering you haven't answered mine from 20 minutes ago now? Please answer my question.
Okay, listen, I don't want to have to server meet you, but I'm just curious.
Can answer all of your questions, why will you not answer a single question that I asked you?
I will be glad to address your questions momentarily.
You've been glad to address my question for 20 minutes.
Bye. There we go.
Thank God.
Now, to all of the young men in the room, okay? I'm in my late 50s. I've been married. I've raised children. If you meet a young woman like that, even if she's the most beautiful, gorgeous, curvaceous woman on the planet, run for the hills. Okay.
Amen, Darth.
Okay. This is a woman who has no self-control when she gets emotional.
I feel
None
like
whatsoever.
This is the type of woman that would be a Lorena Bobbitt.
Bro, can you imagine a real argument, like in real life with real consequences at stake?
For real.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that woman has. She has She has
That's
Lorena.
Not, by the way,
Bobbitt,
she's not a woman. She's a child.
She has Lorena Bobbitt written all over her, dude. I like to avoid her.
Yeah.
I mean, she might be a lesbian for all we know, but even so,
I feel like that joke is going very underappreciated.
she's gonna chop someone's junk off and be justified.
Yeah.